Hello, boys and girls. How is everyone today? Hello. Hello. I'm Marilyn Ravina, and I have grandchildren that are ages 7, 5, and 3. So that's a good age to be, isn't it? So much fun. Well, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is animals in God's kingdom. So let's look at the first slide. There we go. I mean, animals are so different, aren't they? What animals do you think of when I mention Bible? Do you think of an eagle soaring? Where God says, I'll give you wings like an eagle and you'll soar. Or do you think of the donkey, the one that spoke? There was a donkey that talked to Balaam. Or do you think of monkeys? Monkeys aren't mentioned very often in the Bible, but yet scientists like to say we came from monkeys. But then why are they still here if we evolved? Why are the monkeys still here? And then there's the dove. And the dove is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. So that's a few animals, but let's look at some more. Next slide. One of the favorite animals to me is lion. Jesus is called the Lion of Judah. But if I was walking in a place where lions were, and they didn't know me, I would be very afraid of them. I would be afraid they would attack me and harm me. But yet we know the Bible says that in heaven, the lion will lie down with the lamb. I wonder if they'll look the same. I wonder if they'll still have those ferocious teeth, or if they'll have sweet little molars. Like our teeth, they're not made for chewing up animals. They're just not. Even our colon isn't made that way, but a lion on earth was made to eat an animal. But I love that picture. He's lying down with a lamb. Let's look at the next slide. Oh, why did I give you this picture? I'll tell you. You see this ferocious looking thing? You probably know exactly what kind of dinosaur that is. Kids love to study types of dinosaurs. Is he a pterodactyl? You'll have to tell me. Whatever he is, he roamed the earth and he was ferocious. But he didn't live very long. We don't have dinosaurs today, and I'm really glad we don't. I'm glad they didn't. I don't know if they made it on the ark. My question is, did they really get on the ark? I'm thinking they perished in the flood too. But whatever happened, because I wasn't there, I'm just grateful today. And I'm grateful that in heaven, there will be nothing that hurts, nothing that bites, nothing that is violent. And that is a beautiful thought about how God is even going to change the animals. They'll be different, or they'll be the same animal but gentle, completely gentle. We used to sing a song about a real live lion to play with. A real live lion there'll be. There'll be a real lion in the new earth, but the lion won't bite me. Neither will this pterodactyl bite you, or whatever he is. Let's see who else is a giant animal with teeth. What's that, everybody? You know what that is, don't you? It's a whale with teeth. A whale swallowed Jonah. A giant, they called him a leviathan. And Jonah lived. He didn't get chewed up. He did get swallowed. And he did get spit out again. God used a whale. And he didn't let the whale hurt or kill Jonah. He used the whale to bring Jonah on his mission. And that's an amazing story in itself, isn't it? All right, let's look at the next slide. Here's a Bible animal. Do you know what that is? Some of you might say, oh, it's a crow. It's not a crow, it's a raven. And do you know that the raven is a very intelligent bird? They have done things that people have written stories about today. But the favorite story that I have is how the ravens brought bread and food to Elijah. He would have perished. He was hungry. He was staying out at the brook Cherith, and out at that brook, there was a famine in the land, and there was very little food. But the ravens found food and brought it to him. God used those ravens. Pretty impressive. You know, I used to have a bird that was a grackle. He was kind of dark looking. And my grackle, I raised it. My dog brought it home in her mouth. And then I took care of it and fed it every morning. And I had a grackle that I was trying to teach how to fly. So that's another story. Let's look at some more animals now. What's next? Oh, a camel. Have you ever been on a camel? No, I haven't. It looks a little scary because you're so high up when you sit on a camel. But the camel is mentioned in the Bible about people going into the narrow way of heaven and how going through the needle or the gate to heaven is narrow, that the camel can fit through, or he can't fit through. Can he? But this is a beautiful representation of a large animal fitting through a small place, and Jesus reminding us that if we hold on to things here that we like more than God, we're like a large animal. We're holding on to too many things, and we're not letting Jesus be first in our life. So just keep that in mind when you see what God is trying to show you through parables and stories. What's next? This is why I wrote the story today. Because God loved the animals on the earth so much that when Noah built the ark, for a long, long time, many, many years, Noah worked to make a very large boat, right? But you know that there was no ocean or rain. He didn't see boats every day like some of us could. I mean, I live not far from the water, and I can drive down to the ocean and see sailboats. But it had not rained, and yet God said, Noah, build an ark and make it large enough to house all these animals. And that is just amazing. And there's a question that comes into my mind. When God told Noah to build this ark, why didn't he just kill all the animals and make new ones? He could have. He could have allowed the flood to take all the animals away. And then, as I asked that question, this answer came into my mind. And that is, God wants us to learn a lesson even today about the animals obeyed. Maybe the angels helped them move together and get onto the ark. But wherever they came from all around at the right time, and they all got onto the ark. And God says, when there's a crisis or a disaster, get on the ark. What's the ark? We don't have a boat to get on today, do we? We could hear that somebody had a bad storm, or somebody lived near an earthquake, or there was a tsunami. There were bad things happening, right? But God says, get on the ark. And the ark is Jesus. He wants us to be as obedient as the animals. Not the people in Noah's day. They laughed and they didn't believe him and they didn't get on the ark. No, but as the animals obeyed, God left a message for us that anyone who will obey may come in under the wings of Jesus and be saved. So I think that was an important reason. And I'm sure there are many more why he saved the people on the ark, Noah and his family, and he saved the animals, and he would have saved anyone who got on board. Let's see the next picture. So some modern day people built a museum in Kentucky, and it's an ark. It's a replica of what they believe the ark looked like. And maybe we can look inside. What do you think? Shall we go inside? Let's see the next picture. Oh, wow. It's a real museum today. I want to go there. I haven't been. It's in Kentucky, and I can't wait to go down and visit it. So it's people who worked very hard to create room after room, and it's sort of like cages, areas where the animals would live and be fed. So let's look at the next page and see what animals they created. Oh, look at that. Sort of a wild gazelle and a bear. The gazelle reminds me of a kudu, but I'm not sure it's of that family. And there were bears, and I'm sure that they did go on 2 by 2 with partners, 2 by 2, so that they could keep creating and keep going and bringing more life to the next world they were about to go into. That's an amazing thought. Let's see the next picture. Aw, elephants. You know, we could spend a whole long time studying an elephant and realize how bright they are in their intelligence and their ability to recognize. I'm going to tell you a very short story about elephants. Elephants in a zoo, one of them died, and they were so sad that they stopped eating. They wouldn't eat anymore because, well, the zookeeper took the dead animal away, and they took it off to bury it. But that isn't what elephants needed. The elephants needed to touch their relative that died. So one of the zookeepers got an animal psychiatrist, psychologist to come in and understand animal behavior and say, your animals are not eating because they need to say goodbye in their hearts. They need the bones of the animal that you buried. So they went and got the bones of the animal that had died, and they brought it back in, and all the elephants touched it with their trunk to say, goodbye, loved one. And they had closure, and they made peace, as elephants do, and they were able to eat again and keep living. So even animals can grieve and be sorry. But the beautiful part of life to us is that we know Jesus made it possible for everyone to be resurrected, that after death comes a sleep in Jesus, and then we open our eyes and we see Jesus when he comes. Or some of us might be alive when Jesus comes, but he promises to give us no more sorrow. And even the animals right now, they feel sorry and sad sometimes, and they need our love and our care. Okay, let's check the next slide. So there's a movie about the days of Noah, and I found out about it, and I have not seen it yet. So it's a challenge for us. Let's watch this movie. It's in 4-part series. It's on Amazon, and a very nice lady told me about it recently, and I said, I'm going to remind everyone to check out this movie so we can be thinking about what Noah went through living in what were his last days. They were the last days of his life around all those people who were about to either get on the ark or drown in the flood. All right, let's look at the next pictures. Okay, I want to have you think about this. That pretty flower is a zinnia. I grow them in my garden, and they have a crown on top of them. And I was so impressed that inside the flower were 100 little tiny other flowers. God is just amazing. And here is what a very fine woman wrote. Ellen White wrote in a book called Desire of Ages. She wrote, "Now sin has marred God's perfect work, but the handwriting remains. Now all created things declare the glory of his excellence. Even now, there's nothing save the selfish heart of man that lives to itself. No bird that cleaves the air, no animal that moves on the ground, but it ministers to some other life. No leaf of the forest or lowly blade of grass, but has its ministry." And she goes on in explaining this to us. The flowers breathe a fragrance into the air. The sun sheds its light to gladden 1,000 worlds. The ocean is a source of springs, and fountains receive streams from every land. They take to give. The mists that ascend, that fall in showers to the earth to help everything grow. I put that in my own words, but do you understand that as we look at nature, even now, there is a beautiful message. God is saying to us, pay attention to nature, and it will teach you things about how one animal gives to another, how the bee pollinates the flowers in your garden. And of course, we know the bees make honey. We love that. But we also love that God provided for every living thing to be ministered to. So if we're selfish, then we think it's about me and just for me. But if we understand how good God is to make us part of it even, we'll say, what part can I play? What's my role? Who can I minister to today in your kingdom? And he won't hold back any good gift. He says, every good gift comes from the Father above. So he will give you that gift of what you have to minister so that you can be part of that beautiful symphony of life. Because it is a beautiful symphony. All right, let's see what's next. Here it comes. I want to sing a song for you now as we close our story. Our story was to think about how precious animals are, how creative God is. And this little song is written by a man named Bill Staines. He's a wonderful folk singer. We went to his concert when our children were young, and he was out camping. And, he heard a weird noise outside of his tent. And he said, "It sounds like aliens have landed." He heard, he was really scared, so he thought he'd go back to sleep. You can't go back to sleep when you think an alien is outside of your tent. So he finally tried to get out of his sleeping bag, and then he heard a noise like scratch against the tent. And now he couldn't go back to bed. So he slowly unzipped the tent and he poked his head out. You know what he saw? He saw a porcupine walking around the fireplace and talking to itself, going, So he wrote this song. And this is the song called All God's Critters. And he put the part about the porcupine in. All right, let's make the slide. All right, here we go. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, pause, or anything they got now. Well, listen to the bass. It's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans and the big to-do. The old cow just says, moo. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle, and the hummingbird hums, the crickets fiddle, the donkey brays and the pony neighs, and the old coyotes howl. Let's see the next slide. Well, listen to the top where the little bird sings the melody with the high voice ringing. Hoot owl howl. Oh, that's hard. The hoot owl howls over everything, and the jaybird disagrees. Well, singing in the nighttime, singing in the day, the little duck quacks and it's on its way. The possum ain't got much to say. The porcupine talks to himself. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, paws, or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a living song everywhere, about the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, the grumpy alligator and the hawk above, the sly raccoon and the turtle dove. I know there's more, but I can't see it because my picture was in the way. Let's see. I missed that last line. Let's try the last line again. All right. Everybody here's part of the plan. Let's see. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, some sing out on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, paws, or anything they got now. Everybody here is a part of the plan. We all get to play in a great critter band, from the eagle in the sky to the whale in the sea. It's one great symphony. That's it. All right. So that is all my story about the one great symphony of animals. And as long as you live, study the animals, learn to take care of them, understand their needs and habits, and you will be very happy.